Hey everybody, today I'm going to be talking about the new Twitch Partner Plus program that's literally just got announced today, or if you're watching this on YouTube, yesterday. And it's something that a lot of people have been asking for, and that is, of course, getting a higher revenue share split compared to like the 50-50 that is default. So if you don't know, for a regular tier 1 sub, the creator split is 50-50 unless you have some sort of special contract, which has been something that has existed before, and they tried to roll it back to remove the higher revenue splits, make sure everybody on Twitch is getting a 50-50 split. And you may get like a little bit higher, partners get higher revenue splits for tier 2 and tier 3 subs, but that's not what this is about. This is just about regular, good old-fashioned tier 1 subs. So let's just take a look at the announcement. So I'll try and make this a little bit bigger, but I pulled it up here, and it's what happened? Go back. There we go. All right. So I'll read it out for you. Today we're announcing the Partner Plus program, a new program for streamers to build toward as they continue to grow their business. The new Partner Program benefit will offer 70% share on net subscription revenue to streamers who meet the qualification criteria. Streamers in the Partner Plus program will receive a 70-30 revenue share on net subscription revenue for 12 months up to 100K. And to qualify, partners must maintain a sub count of at least 350 recurring paid subscriptions for 3 consecutive months. I'll get over what all this means. And once that happens, partners will be automatically enrolled for the next 12 months, even if you dip below the subscription threshold during the 12-month period. So this is, if you fall into this range of people making more than 350 recurring paid subs, but less than 100K, this is massive for you. This is absolutely huge. So you'll see, going from a 50-50 split to a 70-30 split, you may just look at it as like, oh, you're going up 20%, 50 to 70. The number is changing by 20. That's 20%. So, math can be tricky. That's actually 40%. You're going from essentially $5 to $7, which is a 40% bump in what the creator actually gets. And I like putting some like hard numbers on here. So like let's just look and see like what that would be. So 350 paid subs. Let's get my good old Photoshop document. Let's get some black ink here. There we go. Perfect. So you got 350 subs. And your default would be times 5 times 0.5. So before the agreement, you're going, let's get a little calculator up. So we got 350 times 5 times 0.5. That gives you $875. Not that much money per month. If you're maintaining 350 subs. Like I don't care. I'll talk about recurring a little bit. But at a 70 split, just do the same math. 350 times 5 times 0.7. Let's see. 350. Times 5 times 0.7. This number grows to 1225. That's at 70%. That is astonishing how much money that is. Like, that is huge. What 40% is. I want to put like an actual dollar amounts around this number range so you get like an idea, since dealing with bigger numbers, dealing with percentages, it doesn't make too much sense. But I think everybody can understand the difference between $875 a month and $1,225 a month. That is ridiculous. So a couple things they have on here, and that is the 350 have to be recurring. So what this means is that this has to be an individual paid sub. To note, this is not sub points. So a tier 3 sub is worth 6 sub points. That makes the number go up. So you'll see like 1,200 sub points. That's what I need to get to unlock my next emote. That's not what this means. This is individual paid subs. So 350 separate people, unique people, paying out of their own pocket for a subscription, which is a lot. So that's not gifted subs. That's not Prime subs. That is specifically paid subs. So yeah, nothing gifted counts. And I do feel I know why that's the case. But we'll get on that in a little bit. But the reason this is important is because, and the reason why Twitch is doing this is they want consistency. They want to have a specific number of guaranteed subs. They don't want people gaming the system, because you could think if it's just 350 base subs of any kind. So I'll put in my information. Right now, I'm at about 120 subs. Equals Phant. That I average around 120 subs. And this is everything. Way less than this, like a little over a third of where I would actually need to be. And of these 120 subs, I know that about 58%, let's just round it up to 60, are recurring subs. So 72 recurring. So if you just multiply this up by the numbers, 70, like assuming 60%, which, everybody's going to vary depending on, do you have very generous people in your chat that want to, drop hundreds and hundreds of subs? But this would put me, if you just do 350 divided by 0.6, at 583 total subs to get to about 350 recurring. Just like a general thing. Recurring. Ignore my spelling, chat. I'm not a good speller drawing with my mouse. So if I get to somewhere between 550 and 600 subs every month average, then I'm probably going to be somewhere in that 350 recurring sub range. And the reason they did this is if you have a recurring sub, you are much, much, much more likely to continue paying for that sub. Period. It's just facts. It's just the data. And Twitch has way more data than any of us could possibly dream of having. Partners and affiliates get to see some of that on their dashboard, but Twitch knows it all. They have everything, and they're paying economists a lot of money to come up with the numbers that you see here, and they're assessing risks and all that. Twitch isn't dumb. They're greedy, but they're not dumb. And the only way you could check them is, being loud about it. Now, sometimes they'll do something that looks dumb, and then the audience will fight back, push back, and that's good because that's one of the only things you can do to stop something from happening. Because you're a publicly traded company, your never-ending goal is infinite growth and making more money than you did last time. You're going to do whatever you can that you can get away with to accomplish that. So this whole thing, getting to 500 and some odd subs, 350 recurring subs. To give you an idea of how many people this affects, how many people impact this, this is like a general thing I've noted. And again, there's a broad range. This isn't like a true hard number, but you can kind of estimate how many subs someone's getting by looking at their average concurrent viewerships. And I'd say most people probably fall into the range where your total sub count, your total average sub count at any given time is about 3 times your concurrent viewership average. So me, I average around 40 viewers every single month. Like I'm like obviously up and down around there, and I'm almost always around 120 subs, period. My friend Fu, who has a publicly listed sub count, she's like around 150 to 200, averaging around 500 to 600 subs every month. And you just look at that and get like a general rough, this is where it is. So 583, just divide that by 3. So you're looking at around 200 average viewers or so to hit that total sub count. And again, these are all just wishy-washy numbers around there. So this is the level of streamer that's going to affect someone over 200 viewers. And to be in the top 1%, so top 1%, I should probably clear this up. Let's just get out of here. Erasing everything. Woo. I could just do this. Ba 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 ba. There we go. Okay, we're back. So, top 1% of Twitch equals about 20 average viewers. So already this thing is not going to affect minimum 99% of people. So to get to 200, I don't have hard numbers for this. You're like a top 0.1% plus. So this deal affects a tiny, tiny, tiny amount of people, barely anybody. And I think that is intentional. They don't want to give the revenue split to most people. So yeah, that's how many people are going to be impacted by this. So 70-30, that number's no accident because that is what was there previously. So you may not know this, but a lot of people have been talking about it lately, and this is something I have known. But prior to the announcement today, there were special partnership agreements where if you had 500 plus recurrent, I'll just put recurrent as for short, you would get a 70-30 split. This was, I think, intentionally kept hidden. This is kind of if you knew, you knew. But if you got to this point and were getting 500 plus subs and you didn't know about this, they'd be perfectly happy giving you the 50-50 split until you complain about it and you go in. So I know several people who got this 70-30 split well before this by having that 500 plus recurrent subs. And it's the same criteria. You know, gift subs, Twitch Prime subs don't count because they don't want you to game the system, because if you had, like me, 120 subs, I could potentially convince people to have a big sub month, get a whole bunch of gift bombs, get me up to 350, whatever it is, and then I could relax for a year, an entire year, where my sub count will drop back down to 100 or below, and effectively I'd be getting the benefit by having like an overall average of maybe like 150 subs. Versus anything, which they very much want to prevent. They want that consistent amount of revenue. And because they're targeting such a small amount of people, it's one of these things that they've structured it in such a way where it's better than nothing. Most people did not know about this previous 500 revenue split because Twitch doesn't want you to talk about it. It's like secret. And anytime you want to hide information from other people, there's usually a bad reason for it, because the streamers always lose out. The person on the receiving end of that always loses out every time. The big company benefits. That's standard practice. That's why people don't like talk about salaries. If you're in the US or pretty much anywhere, you probably feel uncomfortable talking about how much money you make. And it's kind of like a built-in cultural taboo to not want to talk about how much money you make. Like between your family, sure, but like nobody's gonna tell their friend I make XX numbers of dollars a year, unless you're trying to it's seen as bragging if it's high. So if it's really low, you can talk about it. But if like you're making any sort of decent amount of money, people don't want to talk about it, and that's like just so ingrained in everything to the people making all the actual money, the big corporations benefit. So that's why they're doing the recurring to, again, limit the range of this. That's why they don't want to do gift subs and prime subs, because that will make it easier to game, so they don't want to do that. That reasoning was very obvious. That's the only reason why you would do this. Even if they like put it like based on that ratio I was saying, where 60% of my subs are recurring subs, and you just scale up the number, it's still gameable because of how much money we're talking about here. Yeah, so they want to obfuscate everything, make it so it's as obscure as possible, so not everybody's mad. Now, there's another factor of this that I'm going to get to now, that is the 70-30 split applies to the first 100K in revenue. So what this means is, and I did look through this because there's a couple ways to read it, where it's like, is it 100K in total revenue? So it'd be like 100K divided by 5 for $5 subs. And it appears to be 100,000 in what the streamer sees in their sub count. They'll get 70% of that. Then after the streamer has made $100,000 in a calendar year, then it goes back down to a 50-50 split. So now, not only do we have this minimum requirement, we have this maximum benefit that you can possibly get from this. And this number was no accident. This 100K, they could have put 90K, they could have put 150K, they could have put any number here. And so why did they pick 100K? So we have, like, assuming like, 0.1%, to 0.01%, 0.01, 0.05. So you're going to be earning less than this. And then beyond this, so greater than this, you're going to be like 100K plus, 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 plus. And you are not really getting too much benefit out of this. So now you have this tiny little range of like 0.9% of the Twitch audience that's going to see the full benefit of this. And if you're much beyond this, it's probably a drop in the bucket compared to how many buckets of money, how much money you're actually making with this. And the 100K number, that number is at a very specific number. That's 6 figures, 100,000, 5 zeros. And traditionally for the last probably 100 years, if you look at 6 figures, or talk about 6 figures, 100,000 whole dollars, that is a number where you think, like, God, this person's ungodly rich. They have so much money. They don't know what to do with this. And by putting this number there, that builds on the psychology in greatest society that $100,000 is a significant amount of money. And it is a lot of money. $100,000 is a lot of money. But, somewhere like California, Washington, a lot of places on the East Coast, 100K isn't that much anymore. Are you still doing good? Yeah, absolutely. For example, I have no shame admitting I make over $100,000 a year. I cannot afford a house in California. So, not much comes from Twitch, but I make more than $100,000 a year. And a lot of people think I have so much money, I don't know what to do with it. I am still living at home with my parents because I cannot afford a house. So, just to put it in perspective, it's like, now if you're in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska, $100,000 goes a long way. So it really varies depending on where you are. But the general sentiment is $100,000 is so much money. And what you're going to see, a lot of people say, a lot of people do, is like, oh, this cuts off people above 100,000 a year. And it's like, they're making so much money anyway. Heck them. Screw them. They have no problem, whatever. And this is a kind of like built-in squabbling between everybody like underneath this giant corporation making billions and billions, literally trillions of dollars. It's absurd, right? So what this does is it splits the Twitch base, who really should be arguing together, but this is all contract work. There's no union. There's nothing there. By putting it at $100,000, you're going to have the people who make that money be angry. I guarantee you, pretty much anybody who is regularly at over 300,000 or 3,000 subs a month is going to be mad about this. Period. Done. That's it. So if you look at somebody on Twitter, you go to a Twitch stream, I guarantee you people close to that amount are going to be mad because they're losing a lot of money if they're not on a special Twitch contract, which I'll get into later. So now you have 99.9% of people on Twitch making under 100K. So now you've got this small amount at the top that are essentially getting screwed over by now having a lower revenue split based on the amount of money they bring in. And 99.9% of people don't care because that number is so big that they think they're just complaining. It's like, oh, woe is me. Let me cry myself to sleep in my mansion of 100 and just like use $100 bills as tissue paper to wipe my ass or something. That's the mentality that's you get around this. And what this causes is Twitch simultaneously placated the majority of their active users, their active streamers, their partners by doing this. It's like, great, I am never going to see this number in my entire life. I could stream for 100 years. I am never going to have $100,000 in revenue, ever, from Twitch in a single year. It's just not going to happen. I'm too small. I'm not well known. I'm too niche. It's just not going to happen. Maybe some bizarro universe I'll get lucky. So yeah, this is something that I will never run into this limit. It's like, oh, great, it's fine, it's good. But how much money is that top percentage of people bringing in? Why is there this 350 cap or minimum requirement to get this? Why doesn't it go to everybody? And why are they capping it at all? And the answer always comes down to money. So there's no mistake that like they didn't put this in here arbitrarily. They have this in for a reason. Now, I'm not an economist at Twitch. I don't see their bottom line. I don't see all their financials. But, by making sure that, the 99% of people on Twitch do not get this revenue split, and they're arguably the people that need it the most. Because someone like me, who is never going to see this, I'm just going to be factually making significantly less money than I could have. And it really sucks for people on the borderline where, like you're averaging 300 or so subs. It's going to push people to try and get more recurring subs. You're going to see a lot of that. So I would say expect people in the 150 to 200 viewer range, probably already down to the 100 to 200 viewer range, are going to be pushing hard. They're going to be pushing so hard to get up to this thing to increase their sub revenue portion by 40%. Like, it's just going to be a fact. You're going to see it a lot. And I think Twitch is hoping that that's going to drive overall sub numbers up versus gifting and all of that. So, yeah, $100,000 psychologically, just a big barrier or a big number where you think you have FU levels of money after that. So people aren't going to be mad, so you can screw over the top. And then you screw over the bottom by having this 350 limit. Now, is this better than nothing? Yes, absolutely. So before, it was hidden, partner only, 500 plus recurring subs to get this split with no cap. They got rid of that. People got mad. People started talking about it. Twitch backpedaled and then made this, which on paper, it's nice. They're like, oh, we have this. The requirement got lowered from 500 subs to 350, and they put the cap on it. So they don't lose as much money as they possibly could. So again, for 99% of people, well, technically for the 0.9% of people that would actually benefit from this, it's an improvement. For 99%, it doesn't matter at all. I am never going to be in this Partner Plus program ever in my entire life. I will never make it to 350 concurrent subs, period. Just not going to happen. But I want people to understand, why, why this is something. So why aren't they doing this for everybody? And, the answer is they can get away with it because there's only three things that will actually encourage a company to do something that actually benefits the consumer. One, you've got laws and regulations. That means they're forced to do it. They're forced to make consumers happier because otherwise we'll actually do something. Two, competition from other sites like YouTube. And then three, consumer action. These are the only three things that will ever get a company to do something that doesn't want to squeeze as much money out of you as possible. So, laws and regulations, that's pretty static, and in a place like the U.S., there's really not too much to that. Employees don't have much power here and get taken advantage of all the time. And it goes further since everybody on Twitch is a contractor. Competition, that is the number one benefit on the consumer end, and there's not much competition in this space. The only real competitor to Twitch right now is YouTube. That's it. So there is no other person or no other place like actually competing here. Now there are other streaming platforms. You can stream on TikTok. You could stream on Facebook. I think there's like this website called Kick that people are talking about recently. But the only thing even in the remote range of Twitch at all is YouTube. And YouTube has a 70% split by default. So if, for example, anytime someone does a super chat or a channel membership on YouTube, everybody who is getting that, it's always 70-30. period. And then for the ad revenue, it's a 55-45 split, exactly the same as Twitch. So Twitch knows that, although YouTube is competition, in terms of like actual streaming, people still vastly prefer Twitch over YouTube. And as a result of that, they can take advantage of that and limit how much they're paying you. Like we see here, where they're locking the 70-30 behind having 350 plus recurrent subs, which again, most people are not going to achieve. So they don't have any motivation to remedy this situation unless enough people complain. And by putting that 100K cap, they captured enough people where like we're not going to, organizers that was like, oh, the top percentage of streamers doing this are going to be fine. So who cares? We'll take this because it benefits me and me only. And everybody below that is going to be it's going to be left out because everybody's like, oh, this is only an improvement. It's a step in the right direction, whatever. Which it is. It totally is. I'm still saying this is better than what we had before. This is like not like I'd rather have this than nothing, but we're kind of at the mercy of this, right? Anything would have been better than what we had before because nothing existed. So, and because there's no collective bargaining, there's no union, everybody's a contractor. You're still taking advantage of, and Twitch probably spent thousands upon thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of dollars doing studies on what these numbers should be in terms of minimizing how much they have to spend and maximizing how much they can take from people watching the site. So, yeah, it sucks because, 70-30 would just help so many people. But, so this whole thing benefits such a small amount of people and will be perceived as an overall good thing. And it's like, yeah, Twitch, good job. You're doing this to try and save face. Because the only reason this exists, the only reason the 70-30 split exists is because they removed the 70-30, or were attempting to remove the 70-30 contract from higher-end streamers, putting everybody down to the baseline of 50-50. They got mad, they got vocal, and because it was just seen as an overall downgrade, everybody got mad. And now they came back, they backpedaled. So this is a total, we're trying to save face announcement. So they made it public. What the minimum requirements for 70-30 are. They're trying to sell it as, oh, look how great we are. Look how fantastic we are. We're so amazing. And the end result is like now that initial group of people that got angry is now going to have way less leverage because most of the people that complained have been placated by this. So it's going to be much harder for them to get Twitch to actually do something unless YouTube competition gets bigger. So I guess one thing to put in perspective, so 100K a year, if we're talking just pure subs, which this is, and you're talking a $3.50 per sub, that's 28,571 subs, or about 2,400 monthly subs. So to hit that 100K cap, we're talking about 2,400 monthly subs. Is anybody beyond that, you're losing money over this deal. Now, the biggest of all streamers have their own special partner contracts. So these are the ones that are like handmade per big streamer. You're so big that we will have a private discussion with you and come up with our own deal that nobody else gets. So this is someone, probably like Pooh, probably like Barb. GDQ has something like this, where, and I don't know the details of those contracts. That's all their own. They're probably under NDAs to not be able to talk about them, but they kind of get treated super specially, where it's like now we can get the 70. Gosh dang it, where did my colors go? Whatever. We're now going to be. What color we got here? Oh, I just want to erase this. There we go. Close enough. So we got the special partner agreements. Special agreements. So these guys are like the biggest of the big streamers. Like we're talking like probably 2,000 plus average viewers. And again, it's a case by case basis. It largely depends on how much negotiating ability you got, and yeah. so, but you do this, and then like Twitch will enter an exclusive contract with just you. This is not Partner Plus. This is not Partner. This is their own. I think they call it like premium contract. Premium. So this would be like, oh, we mandate, X number of hours. You will get this. You'll run this many ads per hour. There's more fine details. You generally get better off with it because they want to keep big streamers here. That's a lot of money, and they're going to do, I guess, the minimum amount they can to make sure that those big streamers keep on streaming. So these special agreements have been said that Twitch is going to honor them. They're not going to put, like, these people are not going to get that 100K cap. So this would apply to the biggest of big streamers getting this. So it has made me wonder, why is this 100K cap here in the first place? If, as soon as you're getting to that 100K range, you're probably in range to get these premium contracts. And the only thing I can think of, and this is speculation on my part, so don't take this as facts compared to all the other stuff I've been saying, but I think the reason they have this 100K cap is because it satisfies most people. And when it comes to future premium contracts, this is going to be the baseline to expect. So anybody who has it now, they're going to ride those people out until they leave, go to YouTube or whatever. And then I think any new streamers that get into this range are probably going to be offered shittier deals than what the premium contracts offered before. And this is still going to be a thing where it's such a small amount of people and they make so much money that most people are not going to care, which they're banking on most people not going to care. So yeah, this is it's a lot. And one thing I guess I should note about this, the last thing that I really have to say about it, Twitch Prime stuff. Any primers in chat at all? So they mentioned that Twitch Prime subs will never give the 70-30 split on it. It's just going to be a straight up 50-50 on your income that you get. So if someone primes in chat, it's going to be $2.50 no matter what. Period. That's it. No premium agreement, no Partner Plus. It's just going to be $2.50. And the reason that is probably is because no money is being spent on Twitch's end. This is where like corporate accounting gets super weird. Where when you order Amazon Prime, that goes to Amazon, and then when you spend it on Twitch by redeeming Twitch Prime, Twitch pays for it. So it shows up positive on Amazon's balance sheet, then negative on Twitch's balance sheet, which means you could probably do some fancy tax shenanigans, I'm guessing. But they don't want to offer that to you. And to my understanding, and again, I'm small streamer. I have never had a contract like this. just regular old standard partner agreement things. But to my knowledge, Twitch Prime used to also offer a 70-30 split to those people. So that's going away probably permanently. I can't imagine it ever coming back. And I think, I was saying this earlier, that there's only 3 things keeping companies from screwing you over. That being the laws and regulations, competition, and like consumer outcry. The last one being the hardest one to pull off because it's tough to unite everybody against something. And Agatha Sophus, thanks for the Prime sub. I appreciate it. I think Twitch would love to just eliminate Prime entirely. And the only reason they don't is because it would anger too many people. And so as soon as people start getting like places like, whatever about Twitch Prime, it's gone. I'm honestly amazed it's still lasting, but I feel it's only a matter of time before Twitch Prime just goes away. Period. But the only thing keeping it there right now is as long as consumers would be super mad. And they will know. They do surveys. They're like, my brother's an economist. PhD, doctor of everything, and is an economist at Amazon. And so I've kind of got like a little bit of insight on what goes on over there. And they have a lot. They hire more economists than any other company in the world. And all of those economists are doing they're doing studies, they're doing simulations, they're sending out anytime you go to Amazon.com. You will not be aware of it, but there are probably 5, 6, a dozen different things happening that are shown specifically to you to test what your behavior is, how things are impacting you. They're subtle things. Some of them are more obvious things, but it's happening constantly. You go to Amazon.com right now, you are participating in one of their economic studies, period. No matter what day it is, no matter what you're buying, something is always going on. So they are always, always, always looking at this and spending lots of money to make sure they understand everything to nickel and dime you as much as possible. So this is, it's very easy to say, Twitch is dumb when a weird announcement comes out. But trust me when I say that they spend a lot of money to make sure that they spend as little money as possible paying people. So I'm sure they are currently trying to figure out a way to get rid of Twitch Prime. It's still just saying this is me musing. This is beyond what this Partner Plus thing is. So yeah, I guess any questions? Kind of said what I want to say about all this. So I guess summary, the grand old summary. Twitch has this new agreement or this new Partner Plus program. It's good for the tiny amount of people that would benefit from it. 99% of people are never going to see the light of day of this. You're never going to benefit from it. Their overall revenue split is still way worse than YouTube because YouTube doesn't require any minimum to hit that 70-30 split. And yeah, hopefully someday we'll see the 70-30 trickle down to all partners, maybe all affiliates. But I think the only thing that will cause that to happen is competition and like people doing more stuff on YouTube and going to YouTube. So yeah, there we go. People will see this as a good thing. And I think in a vacuum, it's a good thing. But as soon as you start looking into the details and everything surrounding it and why this got put here in the first place, it's still not great. There you go. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube so I can make more money over here. Woo!